What is up, my passengers? You are listening to Off the Rails with Morgan. This is the season finale. It's hard to believe it has been this long. I'm not gonna lie. Normally, I am a type A queen. I come well prepared. I am wildly unprepared for this podcast. I leave tomorrow to go to Lisbon. So if you are new here, if you're just stumbling upon this podcast, which no way in hell, if you're just now listening to this podcast, you're clicking on this episode. But if by chance you are, let me fill you in quickly. I decided kind of on a whim that my life dream has been to live in Europe. I fell in love with Lisbon on my first solo trip ever. I've been thinking about living in Portugal ever since. I've been a few times. I keep telling myself all answers lie in Lisbon, mainly because I am 30 and I have no fucking clue what is going on with my life right now. So a relationship of mine ended, my schedule opened up, and I said, let's go to Lisbon. Let's go to Lisbon. And that's what I'm going to do. So tomorrow I leave. Am I packed? Absolutely not. I'm sitting in this podcast chair just thinking about all the things I need to do in the next 24 hours before this flight takes off. But I will get it done. I always do. So I'm going to be in Lisbon for 5+ weeks. We don't really know. All I know is I have a bachelorette party in Cabo at the end of October that I have booked a flight for. So I will be back. I was going to say I'll be back in America. I'll be in Mexico at some point. And I don't know. We're going to see what adventure lies in Lisbon. Now, I'm going to say this because I'm taking a little hiatus from the podcast. We're going to take a break. A lot of people are like, well, why don't you do the podcast in Lisbon? Tell us your stories. Guys, I need to breathe for a second. I think the point of me going to Lisbon, and don't worry, I will have recaps. I will be posting on social still, but I just need a second to figure my shit out. And I really do think that is kind of the point of me going to Lisbon. So we are going to take a little break from the podcast, but I feel like I should say this because it's going to be a little confusing on my socials unless I say this. I will be flying back to Nashville for one weekend at the end of September. Guys, I really struggled with this one because my game plan, I was going to go to Lisbon. I'm going to live like the European I am. I was going to immerse myself with the locals and the community, and I was going to find a gym, which I am going to still do all of this. And I was just very, very set on booking a flight there and not even thinking about America until I flew home at the end of October. Well, guys, I have a job and I have to do my job. And I am realizing very quickly that while yes, I can do my job as long as I have a phone in my hand, a lot of times, look, I work with brands on Instagram. Majority of those brands are in America, and majority of those brands send things to my home in Nashville. And also, I realize as I am contacting my cute little Airbnb owner, I was like, hey, I'm an influencer of sorts. Is there a way for me to get packages sent here? And telling this woman this, went over her head. She's like, no, we don't get packages. I'm like, she's like, you have to be in the apartment for them to deliver you a package. I was like, well, that sounds difficult. She's like, why don't you contact a mail or a post office and see if you can send things there? I was like, I am overwhelmed, whatever. So I kind of already was a little stressed out about how I was going to get these products while living in Lisbon. And then I also got an offer from an amazing brand that I was just so thrilled to work with. I've worked with them in the past. They're Nashville based. The fact that they reached out to work with me again is honestly such an honor. But I will say my team brought this to me, and initially I was like, nope, not doing it. And then I realized I gotta pay rent. I'm also paying for an Airbnb in Europe, and I'm still paying for my Nashville rent because I'm a psychopath. So my initial instinct was don't be a sellout. Essentially don't do your job. Go and be a European. And then I realized I really kind of do need a paycheck. So as much as it pains me, I'm excited to come back for one weekend. I get to go to a really awesome music festival. I get to work with a brand I love. It's going to be confusing because you're going to see this and be like, wait, I thought you were in Lisbon. And I honestly feel kind of guilty. I feel kind of guilty because I feel like I have told everyone I'm going to be living in Lisbon. But the way my team phrased it, it's no one can take 6 weeks off of a job. Most people can maybe take 2 weeks off, 4 weeks off. I still need to do my job, and part of my job includes flying all the way home from Europe to Nashville for literally 2 days and then flying back, which is just psychotic. But yeah, so that's kind of my little adventure. I am freaking out, to say the least. I don't know. I feel like I'm just putting a lot of unnecessary pressure on myself, if I'm being honest. I posted that on Instagram. I was like, oh, like, what if I can't find the answers in Lisbon? Like, what if the answers don't come to me? And everyone messaged me back, which, like, by the way, guys, don't be my therapist, okay? I've got a session with Carly after this. I'm going to talk to her all about it. But everyone is like, oh my gosh, like, don't put so much pressure on yourself. Just go and be. And at first I got like a little offended. And then I realized, like, you guys are right. I feel like I don't know. I'm confused on my whole entire life. I'm 30. I don't know where to live. I don't know what to do about dating. I don't know if I want to date. I still miss another person. I don't know the future of my career. I thought I had some direction with these group trips. I really feel called to do that. I don't know, is Instagram going to last? I don't know the longevity of this podcast. Like, I'm just confused. And I think instead of tackling all of that and just being patient, I keep telling myself, like, all answers lie in Lisbon. You're going to go to Lisbon, and this has been your dream for so long. And it's just going to be this magical little genie's going to come out, and then he's going to say, here's what you're supposed to do with your life. I don't necessarily think that's going to be the case. So I really just want to go and enjoy. Someone asked online, though, they're like, what are you looking forward to the most about going to Lisbon for a bit and like living in Europe? And then what are you not looking forward to? So like what I'm looking forward to, like my first answer, the Zara, the European Zara. I don't know if you guys know this. I didn't know this. Portugal, Lisbon specifically, has the second largest Zara in the world. Like, this place is so big. They have a cafe in it. You can get pastries in this. Like, picture this. You're shopping for like all your cute little European outfits, which, by the way, the Zaras in Europe are like half the price of the US Zaras. And I actually don't know why. I'm assuming it's because it's manufactured over there. So not only are you saving money, you can then get a coffee and a pastry while you're shopping. Like, this sounds like my freaking dream. I'm also looking forward to the cheap wine. I'm also looking forward to my body not being inflamed and just puffy from all the poison I put into it from the food I'm eating in America. I'm not kidding, y'all. I got back from Bali last week. This is psychotic. Okay, I need to stay put. No wonder my body's freaking out. Why am I saying this? Whatever. But apparently, I don't know if you guys knew this. We're going on a little tangent here. If you are flying often, like the going up and down from different altitudes can actually delay your period. I didn't know that. But all I know is I was supposed to start my period like legitimately at the beginning of the Bali trip. I waited. 2 weeks later, there's still nothing. To the point where I'm like, am I the Virgin Mary? Like, I know I had not slept with anyone since my last period. And I was like, what is happening? Like, is there, I was Googling insane things. I was like, is there a way that I'm pregnant without like actually fornicating? I don't know. I was freaking out. All you need to know is, lo and behold, I did get it. And I had to Google WebMD, which I don't know if this is accurate, but yes, like the nonstop stress of travel and being on airplanes actually can delay a cycle. Anywho, side note, if you're also a little bit late, well, you might be pregnant, but also it could be because you've been flying a lot. So like, we don't know that. Anyways, I got back from Bali last week. I'm not kidding. I have never felt worse in my life. Like the 2 weeks in Bali, and I will say Bali, healthy food, vegans, it's not processed, it's cheap, it's affordable. Like, I felt fantastic. Like, I felt like I was at my prime. I also like wasn't drinking that much and I was working out while traveling. Anyways, I got back, and the second I start eating the processed food in America, which like when you think about it, everything we eat is like wrapped up in plastic. And like, that's what I try and avoid, but it's like, it's so much easier to grab a protein bar or a bag of this or something, and it's all packaged. And in Europe and Bali, that does not exist. I don't think the whole entire 2 weeks I was in Bali, I bought anything that was in a wrapper. Like, it was all fresh. and I could tell in my body. And now I'm just like, I'm puffy. I've got sodium coursing through my veins. I just feel backed up. I feel icky, whatever. So what I'm looking for, long-winded answer to say all this, I'm looking forward to going to Europe and seeing if maybe that changes. Like, it's crazy. I legitimately like had to call my doctor because I was like, something is off. Like, I just don't feel right. And then I really do think it is linked to being back in America. But when you think about it, I was like, shoot, do I need to cut out dairy? I was like going down. I was like, I need to cut out sugar. I probably should cut out alcohol. That might actually solve a lot of my problems. But look, baby steps. I was like, should I go gluten-free? And then I realized, like, when I go to Europe, I'm consuming nothing but gluten and carbs. Like, you eat bread, you eat pasta. I'm drinking ample amounts of wine. I actually lose weight when I'm in Europe. It is truly an odd phenomenon. Anyways, if you're listening to this, we should all just move to Europe. It's kind of what you need to know. What else am I looking forward to in Lisbon? I'm really looking forward to just trying new things with no expectations. Like, last night I was sitting in bed and I started making a list, which is what I do best. Just make little lists, to-do lists, goal lists, bucket lists, all these things on my phone. And I actually stopped myself. I was like, I don't want to make a list of like Lisbon things to do, like things I need to check off, because then I feel like I'm living for a story. I'm living for this list. I just want to go with no expectations, and I want to take a deep breath. I want to go and meet people. If adventure comes my way, cool. I want to take it. If it doesn't, cool. I want to sit and journal and be in my thoughts and enjoy my cute little Airbnb. I'm looking forward to, I don't know, like, what is it like working out at European gyms? Also, what's baffling? Where do they grocery shop? Like, every time I've been in Europe, I am a tourist. So I'm eating out breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I'm going to cafes. Like, I am now in an Airbnb with a kitchen, and I'm there for 6 weeks. Like, I will have to make meals. They don't have a Trader Joe's or a Target. There's definitely not a Whole Foods. There's for sure not an Erewhon in Lisbon. So I'm like, okay. Like, I'm just envisioning going to like this little market where you have, I don't know, farmers bringing you produce and they're chopping up your meat in front of you, which like really freaks me out. So that's going to be an interesting thing to deal with. I think what I'm not looking forward to, or like what I'm most scared about, is like it not living up to my expectations. And I guess this goes along with like, I need to just let it go, let it flow, let it be. But I'm like, what if I get there and it's not what I wanted it to be? I also am putting this insane pressure on myself. I really want to buy an apartment there. Like, I really do. I think it's a dream of mine. I don't want to, well, I actually would love to move to Portugal permanently. Like, if I could choose a place to live tomorrow, my ass would be on a plane with all of my stuff flying to Lisbon. But I don't, look, I'm just an influencer. I'm just a girl. I don't know how to do my job from Lisbon. I don't know tax implications. My business is in Nashville. I just don't know. I want to buy an apartment there. Can't move there just yet, but I started contacting realtors again because I can't just go with the flow. I have to be prepared, and I got so overwhelmed. Like, I think I have the budget for it, but then there's taxes. I had to legitimately, what's wrong with me? I legitimately had to message my real estate friend in Nashville and say, Jamie, this is going to be embarrassing. I'm 30 years old, but I've only rented my whole entire life. What's a mortgage? She was like, are you being for real? I was like, I literally don't know how this works. So then it was dealing with that and then figuring out you have to have a Portuguese bank. And then my goal with this apartment that I wanted to buy, I wanted in hopes to Airbnb it out to my travel community, to Miles with Morgan, like solo female travelers. And then I realized that Lisbon has cracked down on Airbnb laws, and there is so many rules around this. Like, you can only buy in a certain area, and then some places you can only Airbnb for short term, so 1 month or longer. Or if you find a place, it has to have a license passed down from owners. And it's just, I was like, oh my God, my plans are squandered already. Anyways, so yeah, I'm scared of having these expectations. I'm scared of being disappointed. I'm scared of going there and like, what if I don't make friends? Or I think part of me is, I've seen the meme on Instagram where it's like, if you feel called to a place, that means someone's there waiting for you and your story's already been written. And trust me, I've seen it because y'all have all sent it to me. And I'm like, okay, I feel this way. I've been called to Lisbon like my whole entire life. What if I get there? And this person and this story that's supposed to be written for me according to the memes on Instagram, what if it's not there? Anyways, guys, all this to say, I'm going to go. And my little mantra is we're going to go with no expectations, only looking forward to experiences. We're going to let it go. We're going to just let it flow. And I'm just going to be. I'm just going to get on a plane tomorrow. I'm going to wear my little journey sweatshirt. And I'm going to trust my journey that whatever feeling I have, whatever in the universe is calling me to Lisbon, it's going to make sense. And it doesn't need to make sense on the very first day I get there. It doesn't need to make sense on the first week. It doesn't even need to make sense at the end of the trip. I just know that it all will. And yeah, I think I'm also scared because when I get home, my lease is up in Nashville in February and I need to figure out where I want to move. I think that is what everyone keeps asking me. And my answer is, I don't freaking know. I visited Orange County with my friend a couple weeks ago and I was sold. I was like, I can see myself in Orange County. I went to New York last week and I'm a psycho. I was sold. I actually do. If I could afford a $10,000 a month place, which is what I need for a walk-in closet in New York City, I would do it in a heartbeat. But that is out of my budget and I'm not dating a man in finance. But yeah, I visited New York and I was like, I can see myself there. And then I have glimmers when I'm in Nashville, when I'm not surrounded by people in sashes on Broadway. I'm like, oh, maybe I could see myself here. Guys, I don't know, people are like, well, put your stuff in storage, live with your parents and travel for a year. I'm like, I could see myself doing that. I don't have an answer. And I have to deal with that eventually. And I know I need to stop running from my problems, but it's just like way easier to just avoid that. But people did want to know like my hot takes of everywhere that I have lived. So I'm going to give them to you really quick. I haven't prepared these, so these hot takes are coming from the top of my head. Let's start with Granbury, Texas. That's where I grew up. It's a quaint town. I don't feel the need to ever go back. Yeah, I don't know. I was going to say, like, if you like doing meth, like, I feel like that's a great place to go. It was at one point the meth capital of Texas. So my hot take is, like, I'm not a small town girl. I think it gave me very humble beginnings, but I was so ready to get the hell out. Like, if I say, let's say hypothetically, I'm walking in Lisbon and I stumble across the hottest, sexiest, most beautiful, kind, amazing man, my soulmate. If I stumble across him in the street and he's like, I love you so much, let's get married tomorrow, I'd say like, okay, sure. And he was like, you need to move home to Granbury, Texas. I'd say, no, I'm going to die alone. Like that is, we cannot do the small town living. I am meant for a city for sure. From there, I went to Austin, which I don't know. I don't feel called to move back to Austin. I feel like it's growing so much and it's expensive. And I do feel like it's just a bunch of my college friends who kind of stayed in Austin, which I do love them. We're in different stages of life. They're all on, I just saw my girlfriends, like they're bringing their kids to the tailgate at the Texas football game, which I love that for them. I'm down to be the fun auntie, but like I want to get drunk at a tailgate. I don't want to be babysitting at a tailgate. So like, I don't think Austin is the place for me. Then we have LA. I can't go back to LA. Like LA was interesting. I'm so shocked. I spent 5 years there, but the best way to describe LA, she's like, here's the difference between LA and New York. I feel like, and I appreciate New York. I'm not a New Yorker. Like they scare me, but I appreciate them. Like they're going to yell at you and call you an idiot and be like, fuck you. I guess you're crossing the street. But at the same time, like they're going to help you out. They just might do it, I feel like, in a more harsh way. Like they're real. Like if you're lost, they're going to be like, you're an idiot. Here's the direction you go. Okay. LA, they don't care about you. They're not going to help you. They're going to smile at you when you're lost and be like, oh my gosh, yeah, like it's over there. But like they have no idea where you're actually going. They're just going to point you in the random direction because they don't care. It's like, it's just a fake place that I don't feel the need to go back to, which is why I think I'm drawn to Orange County. But then I don't know, guys. It's, do I want to leave California? I don't know. It's 45 minutes from LAX. I just need to be near a big airport. Can Nashville build a better airport? If I was to do a TED Talk this is interesting, guys, and I feel free to DM me. This is an interesting topic. If you had to go on stage tomorrow to do a TED Talk on something that you are just so passionate, so educated on, what would it be? Like, I actually am very curious about that answer. My answer would be why the Nashville airport is the #1 worst airport in all of America. I feel very passionate about it. I am dedicated. I can do some research. I actually haven't done that much research. I just always have horrible travel experiences. And then if I didn't do that, it would also be why cheerleading should be an Olympic sport, because it should be. And I stand behind that. All this like random tangents to say, like, I really don't know where I'm going to live. And I think my therapist said this best. I talked to her last week. God bless Carly. I pay her so much money, and I think she gives me maybe 5 minutes of speaking, and then I spend 45 minutes just blabbing about my life. But hey, it makes me feel better. She said moving to a new place or moving jobs or like any change in life, this is the best analogy ever. She said it's like trying on a pair of pants. And at first when she said this, I was like, this is stupid. Like, Carly, this is a dumb analogy. But she was like, hear me out. When you're trying on jeans, like, jeans are hard to come across a good pair. Like, you're not going to wander into Zara or Abercrombie and the first pair of pants you try on are just like the perfect buttery soft pair of jeans. But think about it. We all have like that one pair of jeans we love, and it took a long time to find like the brand, the size, the cut, all of that. She was like, figure out where to live or figure out any like major change in life is like trying on a pair of pants. Like, you try one on and it might not be it, and that's fine. Take it to Goodwill. It was a fun run. Might not be the most flattering in some photos. You're like, oh, that was a bad fashion choice. And then you go find another pair and you try on another pair, and eventually you're going to find like that amazing pair of pants. So I don't know. Was that a dumb analogy? Maybe you're following me. I don't know. But just remember, and what I tell myself, it's like trying on pants. Okay, I should have said this from the beginning, guys, so you would actually listen into this episode and not just be like, we don't care about your life crisis or where you're going to live or what you're doing. Okay, to end this podcast, I'm obviously wearing my Unhinged hat. I ask everyone often the off the rails things that they have done. I've not really said my off the rails things recently, and there is one story that will just like go down in history as my most unhinged off the rails story. It happened in college. It involves some roofies. We're going to get there. But I digress because really quick, someone did ask, and when I asked, like the topics for this final podcast, they're like, whoa, like what's left on your vision board? What do you still have to have left to check off? Y'all, it is wild, the power of a vision board. If you have not made one, like, you got 4 months of the year left, there's still time. I have checked off so much on this little vision board of mine. Everything from like going to Madeira and staying in Lisbon and visiting Sydney and all this stuff. The random things that I have left. For some reason, I put a picture of Ibiza on there, which I don't know. Now I'm like, do I need to go to Ibiza? Kind of. I put a picture of a girl in Thailand. I hate to break it to myself. I will not be heading to Thailand anytime soon. And then also I had a picture of like a podcast network because I really wanted to get signed to a podcast network, which also is not looking like that's going to happen this year either. Those are what I have left. I don't know if they will happen. Well, but look, 4 months is a long time. So if you're out there also stressed, 4 months is a long time. A lot can transcribe and unfold in 4 months. Also, make a vision board, and it's not too late to pick a word of the year. Anyways, okay, let's get into some unhinged, off the rails shit. Okay, so I wanted to pick out a story from high school. I'll tell you my college story is actually the most unbelievable story on the planet Earth. And then I was trying to rack my brain. I'm like, what's the most unhinged thing I've done in my adult years? I feel like I've calmed down. I feel like the second I graduated college, I somewhat got my shit together. I would say my most unhinged moment was probably in Ibiza. You guys know that story. Stayed up all night, was on a different planet, met the guy I ended up dating, stayed up all night. Oh my gosh, I kind of want to run it back just one time. Also, speaking of unhinged in Ibiza, why am I like this? Truly, I got this wild hair where I last week was listening to a Kygo song, and for some reason, this man just does things to me. I don't know why, but he makes me want to rage my face off anytime I listen to a Kygo song. So I was listening and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be in Lisbon. That's like a 2-hour flight from Ibiza. And that was the most unhinged night of my life. And I'm coming out with, as I'm wearing them right now, a new unhinged hat. So I was like, for marketing purposes, should I go spend one night in Ibiza? But here's the thing. I looked up prices. It's like $1,000 for a hotel room. My ass is not doing that. So I was like, should I fly in from Lisbon, like in the afternoon, go to the party? They start at 11 p.m. I'll party all night long, get done at 7 a.m. I'll probably not be sober, but that's okay. I think I can get to an airport, and then I'll just fly home the next day. I don't even need to get a hotel. I'll just wear my cute little club outfit and my unhinged hat on the plane. And for some reason, I was like, I think I need to do this. So then what did I do? I bought 2 tickets. Why? I don't have someone I've asked all my friends. They're like, we're not going. And then I call my sister. My sister is like, look, when all things go to shit, Alex is always there. And she's like my ride or die. I was like, Alex, can you go to Ibiza? And she's like, sorry, dude, I have a wedding. And I'm over here like, I just spent 200 euros, which like, okay, if I lose 200 euros, it's not great, but it's not the worst. But yeah, that was, why did I do that? I don't know, but we'll see. Maybe I'll meet a new friend in Lisbon and they will also want to fly to Ibiza for 12 hours to rage their face off and then fly all the way back. That seems logical. It also seems incredibly unhinged. And now I'm like kind of sad if it doesn't happen. But again, as we said at the beginning of this podcast, we're letting it go. We're letting it flow. If I don't end up in Ibiza raging my face off, I guess I'll live. But it would make me really sad. And I don't want to waste a ticket. So if you're listening to this and you have a friend who likes fun blondes, I'm harmless, I'm a good time, I'll buy you drinks. If you have someone that you know in Lisbon and they also have this like wild hair to hop on a flight to Ibiza, send them my way. Send them this podcast and my Instagram profile and say, DM her. Anyways, okay, let's rewind to my unhinged high school story. So Morgan Willett in high school, she wanted to be a party girl so bad. I think I was just itching to get out of Granbury, Texas. My parents were so strict. Like I had that 10 p.m. curfew. I was not allowed to party, was not allowed to drink, anything like that, which honestly, God bless my parents, because that I think is why I'm sitting in the chair that I am now. But in high school, I snuck out one night because I was feeling rebellious, and I like lied to my parents as one does in high school. And I said I was like staying at my friend Hannah's place. And her parents were home, blah, blah, blah. Well, it turns out her parents weren't home and whatever. I went there with some guys. I did not know what a Four Loko was. I just thought it was like a fun little, I don't know, like a Four Loko to me back then would be like a White Claw. Like that's what I thought it was, a seltzer of sorts. Anyways, it was my first time like really drinking and I was just like so excited. I wanted to be a cool girl. So I got handed a Four Loko. I don't know if you guys remember what Four Lokos taste like. Battery acid. I am thinking about a watermelon Four Loko right now, and I'm getting heartburn. I'm getting acid reflux. I'm legitimately wanting to I can feel the bile in my throat. Vile. And back in the day, for you youngsters listening, a Four Loko, it's like, I don't know what it is. It's an alcoholic beverage of, I don't even know if you can call it that. It's poison in a can, and they got banned because it was mixed with an energy drink. So if you drank a whole entire can of a Four Loko, essentially you die. Like you're hospitalized for sure. Anyways, I didn't know that. High school Morgan was unaware of what a Four Loko would do to her. So I got handed one and I drank it. All of it. Well, I would say not all of it because I would be dead. I bet I drank 3/4 of it. So, woo, she's feeling good. I was actually incredibly intoxicated. And my friend lived, God, wow, the fact I'm alive is actually insane. My friend Hannah lived on the lake. So we're all hanging out outside, drinking a little Four Lokos. I'm hammered at this point. And she has a diving board. What you need to know about this story too is I had my senior pictures like 2 days later. And in Texas, like senior pictures were a big deal. I think it's a Southern thing. Like we didn't just go in the school and pose and snap a photo and it goes in the yearbook. You had photo shoots. Like I had outfits picked out. Like I was trying to be like editorial with my senior photos, which now looking back, I'm like, you're posing on train tracks, Morgan. You're literally, I had a white dress and like turquoise heels, like, and like pops of color, and I'm like sitting in flowers. And then there's one where I'm like in an abandoned train station. Like I really thought I was going on America's Next Top Model with these senior pictures. Anyways, what you need to know is I'm sipping a Four Loko, and 2 days later, my mom has spent all this money for my like editorial America's Next Top Model senior photo shoot. Okay, I didn't care. I had 2 sips of a Four Loko, and I was like, what? My modeling career's done. I don't care. So I was not trying to swim. I know that because I was not wearing a swimsuit, but I'm like holding my Four Loko and I wander out onto her dock and there's a diving board. So I don't know, me trying to get attention, or like I probably had a crush on one of the guys, was trying to be cute. I walk out on the diving board. But what you know, at this point, I can't walk in a straight line. So I'm walking, holding my little can, trying to be cute. I take a step off the diving board. So my other foot misses, and this diving board's like 8 feet in the air. I miss. I hit the side of the diving board, and then I like fall in the water, which thankfully I was okay. I'm aware. Do not message me and be like, you're an idiot. You could have gotten hurt. I know. Lessons are learned. That's why we were high school idiots. We learn and we better ourselves. All you need to know is I hit the side of the diving board, crash in the water, and I like gash open the front of my shin. Not a scratch, not like a rug burn gash, all down the front of my shin. So, okay, I had to go home the next morning. My mom thinks I'm at a slumber party. So I walk in, haggard, y'all. You know a bad hangover. It was bad. I was on the verge of vomiting. I walk in and my mom looks at my leg and she goes, what'd you do? I was like, oh my God, I don't even know what I said. I was like, we were playing games and playing ball and I tripped and I found this woman knew immediately. She was like, you're a liar. But there's nothing we could do. My mom would not talk to me for like a whole entire day. She's like, you knew we had this photo shoot. So I did the photo shoot, my little dress on my train tracks, and Kim Willett had to pay an extra fee. So every single photo my scab could be photoshopped out of. Oh my God, she was so mad. But look, I'll have to post these photos on my Instagram. Photos turned out great. I had my side bang going strong. I had my black eyeliner. I had a silver smoky eye. Oh my God, I was like, chic. Tyra, call me, as I'm wearing my mini dress on the train tracks in Granbury, Texas. And I don't think I ever drank a Four Loko again after that. And then I think shortly after that, they were banned by the FDA because they kill people. So that was high school. Now we're going to move forward to college. Okay, I'm going to preface this story that I have not said this on the internet. I honestly did not tell my parents I was going to just tell this story. So my mom's going to listen to this and actually be so upset because we had kept this one a family secret from Alex Shea Willett for quite some time. I'm also going to preface this. I was roofied, I think. There was never a test done to know if I was roofied, so we don't actually have legal proof that there was roofies in my system. But I have an inkling. I'm like 99.9% sure that I was roofied because, let me just tell the story and we can figure it out. I'm in college, and once I had graduated from old Granbury, Texas, Granbury High School, I was let loose into the wilderness in Austin, Texas, and I was a crazy person. So for all those people out there who are my age, that's sad, who are having children, I am not, and you're thinking about raising your children the right way, let them drink. I'm not telling you to like put a beer in their hand at 10 years old. Just slip them something in high school. Let them feel cool. Let them have a little bit of alcohol. Why, I'm telling you? So when they get to college, they aren't me. They're not just an absolute degenerate wreck who gets handed a plastic bottle of Svedka and is like, this is the best day of my life. Let's drink all of it. That did not happen that day. But so it's like a Tuesday, and in college, I legitimately went out every night of the week. Like there was Sunday fun day, Taco Tuesday, throwback thirsty Thursday, fucked up Friday, like freaking game days on Saturday. Anyways, I drank a lot and somehow maintained my grades, and I was on the cheer team, and I was in a sorority, and I worked a job. Anyways, I've always been a psycho. That's what you need to know for some reason since birth. So it's a Tuesday, and in Texas, I don't know if this is a thing everywhere, but we had a large Greek life. So fraternities would have bar tabs. So essentially, they would rent out a bar. There'd be a tab. All the girls could go, and they could drink as much as they wanted until the bar tab ran out. So my friends were like, we're going to 6th Street. Get your paper ID, your paper fake ID that I made on Microsoft Paint. Used to work back in the day. Get that paper ID and meet us out. And I was like, sold. I put on my little mini skirt from Express, my chunky wedge heels from Steve Madden, my Kendra Scott statement necklace, and like a peplum top, which was like really cool back in the day. And I met my friends out, and I had probably 2 vodka cranberries. Those were fun back in the day. Now I smell a vodka cranberry, I want to die. I had about 2 vodka cranberries, and that's all I remember. It was like 8 p.m. Oh, man. Here's where the story gets complicated. Okay. I have my 2 vodka cranberries, and I wake up the next morning shackled to a hospital bed. I'm not being dramatic, like shackled. I shouldn't be saying this. I feel like you guys are probably very concerned. Look, I'm alive. The story gets better. I come to, like, still in my mini skirt. I'm like, where am I? Is this 6th Street? And then a nurse comes in. She goes, Alex, hi, I'm your nurse. I'm going to be taking care of you. And I was like, she just say Alex? So I roll with it. Thank God. In that moment, I come to and I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know why I'm shackled to a hospital bed, and I don't know why she's calling me my sister's name. I'm going to roll with this. Okay. So I pulled my little actress skills out, and I'm like, yeah, I'm doing good, blah, blah, blah. She was like, okay, so we picked you up last night. Like, you were sitting behind one of the bars. They put you like in an ambulance because you were very intoxicated. And then we just like let you stay the night. But apparently I got sassy, which I know myself. I can see them trying to be like, you're staying the night, and me trying to fight a nurse and be like, no, I'm going home. And they're like, Alex, sit in the bed. Okay, so I'm like, all right, cool. Why is she calling me Alex? So then she comes in. She's like, okay, call a friend. We're going to let you go. So I like call my guy friend. I'm like, hey, don't ask questions. I need you to come to the hospital and like pick me up. She hands me back all my stuff. I had a paper ID, and I also had my sister's old ID, which I had out there with me that night. So apparently, guys, I was 100% roofied by a frat guy. I don't remember which frat this was. I want to think it was SIG-Ep. So all you freaking SIG-Eps out there, you better watch your back. I have a vengeance for you. 100% someone had to slip something in my drink because I've had my brownouts. I've had my blackouts. You remember bits and pieces. I legitimately remember taking a sip of a vodka cranberry, and I remember nothing else. And while I'm telling this story, while it is funny and it is crazy, I do want to make it a little bit serious. I'm not like making roofies funny. I'm not saying it is not an issue. It's scary. Check your drinks. Make sure when you're out at bars, at clubs, anything, do not take a drink from a stranger. Always watch the bartender make your drink. Keep your drink in your hand the whole entire time because this shit is scary, and I am very, very thankful that I can laugh about the story, that I was okay, that all is well, and I can tell it on a podcast. But anyways, let me get back to the story, but I just had to say that so people don't think I'm like, oh my God, making light of me being roofied and off 2 vodka cranberries. I wake up, hospital, give me my stuff back. My friend picks me up. They fill me in kind of on the story. In my little mini skirt, I was behind a bar. I was just like sitting down, chilling, like literally just sitting crisscross applesauce, like staring into the abyss. Finally, they put me up and take me into a ambulance, which by the way, costs like $6,000. I am a college student who does not have that money. So it's like a $6,000 ambulance ride. Thank the Lord, though, in my roofied stupor, they asked, like, give me your ID. didn't give them the paper one. Thankfully, they would have known I made that on Microsoft Paint. I handed them Alex's ID. We look so similar that they bought it. So I technically didn't get charged. I technically did not ride in that ambulance, and I technically did not get released from that hospital. Alex Willett did. So I had to call my mom. My friend picks me up. He's like, what happened? I'm like, dude, I don't know. I was shackled to a hospital bed. They're calling me my sister's name, and I have a $6,000 charge that I can't pay for. He's like, you're going to have to call your parents. I was like, I literally can't do it. He drops me off at my dorm. He's like, you know what you need to do. And I was like, fuck. So I call Kim Willett. And I'm like, still kind of drunk. I'm like, not feeling too hot. And I'm like, I got to tell her. I call Kim. I'm like, hey, mom. She's like, what? It's like a Wednesday morning. I'm like, so I have to tell you something, and it's not good. And she's like, what did you do? I'm like, okay. So Alex went to the hospital last night, and there's a very expensive ambulance charge. And when I say Alex, I mean it was me. But all of these things are now under your other daughter's name, and I don't know what to do, and you need to come take care of it. My mom drove from Granbury, Texas to Austin, Texas. It was just like a 4-hour drive. That woman made it in like 2 hours and 45. She was pushing 90 on the highway. I have never seen this 5-foot Texas housewife, Kim Willett, she's teeny tiny, come in with such force. She slammed open that dorm room so fast, like I wanted to die. She picked me up. She drove me to my grandparents' house, and she was like, we're going to have a chat. I was like, I'm scared. She was like, if you ever do this again, you will never see the light of day. You will be taken out of school. And I'm like, okay, yes, I get that. I promise you. One, I was also roofied, mom. I was roofied. It was not me. And now looking back, I wish I would have asked for a roofies test. I was young. I was a freshman. I was also confused. They're calling me my sister's name. They thought I drank too much. They thought I was overserved, so they did not test me. I think nowadays they would. Anyways, I told my mom, I was like, I swear it wasn't me. Someone slipped something in my vodka cranberries. And she was like, I don't care. You're an idiot. So then I was like, okay, well, whatever. I can't pay for this hospital bill. So thank the Lord, my mom and dad paid for it. They're like, this is your Christmas gift for the next 5 years. I was like, yes, ma'am. That's fine. But then the funny part is, which now I'm like, I would tell my sister immediately because I thought it would be so funny. Like, I didn't get in trouble. You did. It's all under your name. My mom looked at me with the look that could kill someone. She's like, do not tell your sister about this. I was like, okay. We hid this story from my sister for years. Like, my mom would like pull me into her bathroom and be like, we got to talk about this ambulance charge. Like, it's still on there. Like, we're working on it. Meanwhile, my sister's eating like Christmas dinner in the other room, has no idea. And then I don't really know how we told her, but like eventually, I think 3 years later, like she had graduated. I was graduating college. I'm sure we were drinking together. And I was like, hey, I got to tell you something. She's like, what? Yeah. So like my freshman year, like I went to the hospital and it's all under your name. Like all those charges, they're under your name. And I think she was mad for like 5 seconds. And then she was like, holy shit, this is funny. Okay, guys, if you think the story is done there, it's not. The plot thickens on this one. Okay, so I went 5+ years never knowing what happened in my little mini skirt, my little express mini skirt. There was a blackout period of 6 hours. I asked my friends, I go, do you guys know what happened? This was honestly like piecing together a story from The Hangover. I was like, guys, do you know what happened? They're like, no, you were with us. We were drinking vodka cranberries. You left. You went to go meet a friend. I was like, what friend did I go to meet? They're like, we don't know. You literally just left. I was like, oh my gosh. I'm asking around. Everyone's like, we don't know. So for years of my life, I just had a giant black hole in my memory. I was safe. I was fine. All I know is a nice police officer found me crisscross applesauce sitting behind a bar in my skirt. Then after Big Brother, I'm back in Austin. I had accepted I would never get that memory back. I would never piece together what happened. It's fine. I would never know why I left my friends in the bar to go meet this mysterious other friend who did not exist until I'm sitting in Austin. This is after Big Brother. I'm visiting my girlfriends. I post on my Instagram story. I'm like, I'm in Austin. And then I had this guy. It's a really hot guy that I used to hook up with named Tanner. I will not say his last name for legal purposes because I'm sure he's still very upset at me. He DM'd me and he's like, oh my gosh, you're back in Austin. He's like, yeah, like I remember good times. Like I still can't really get a good job because of you. It's like, what? Skirt. I was like, hey, one, I haven't talked to you in years. And I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, you don't remember that one night your freshman year in college? I was like, let me tell you about this black hole in my memory. I was like, no, I don't remember, but I have an inkling that this is the night that all this shit went down and I was roofied. And were you there? He was like, yeah, I was in town that night. I don't know what happened, and I was like, oh my gosh, everything got pieced together. And I'm going to tell you what happened. I was at the bar tab. I got roofied. I had my 2 drinks. I went to go meet my friend, this guy who was visiting in town. And whatever, like we used to have a fling back in the day. So I went to go hang out with him. I met up with him. If you think the story is weird now, it's getting weirder. I went to go meet up with him. And I told this man that I had drove my car there. I didn't. I took a cab. This is before Uber. I didn't drive my car. I took a cab with all my friends, like the responsible freshmen that we were. But in my roofied stupor, I told him I drove. And he was like, okay, I'm sober. I'll drive your car back. I said, cool. He said, where's your car? I just pointed to a random car on the side of the street. I said, that's my car. He was like, are you sure? I was like, yeah, there was a man in the car. He was like, there's a man in this car. And I said, that man's stealing my car. He's like, are you sure? And I was like, no, I swear on my life, that is my car. And he's like sober. So he's like, oh, okay. Like she's being serious. He opens the car door and he's like, bro, get out of her car. And this poor man, I need to send this man a gift basket, a fruit basket, something. He's like, this is my car. My friend's like, no, bro, get out of her car. You're stealing her car. This is her car. And he's like, legitimately, this is my car. And I don't know what I'm doing. I'm over here just like, probably in the background being like, that's my car. Get me my car back. So this man and my friend start arguing as one would when also my friend is massive. He's like 6'5", jacked, tatted, huge guy. So yeah, of course this man's like trying to defend his car. They get in a physical altercation. My friend legitimately punches this poor man in the face. like he did nothing. It's his car. And all of a sudden this 6'5" guy is like, bro, and like me in the background, like taunting this man, being like, that's my car. He's stealing it. Punches him in the face. Okay, so they get in a scuffle, right? The cops come. And I don't know, look, I was kind of smart in my roofied state because I just walked away. They get in a fight. I leave my friend high and dry. I'm like, well, bye. Like, see you later. So I like in my little wedges and my mini skirt, I'm like, do. I like just walk off during the scuffle. My friend gets arrested, which obviously makes sense. He literally got into a physical altercation, accusing an innocent bystander of stealing a car that was this man's car. So my friend gets arrested. So that is what pieces together. And he's like, yeah, it's on my record. I have a hard time getting a job because of you, I literally got arrested. I spent the night in jail. Okay, so I walk off. That's what happened. So I walk off, and I guess I was frustrated because I wanted to go home, and I wanted a ride home, but I guess I wanted a ride home in my car that was not there. So that's why I just, in my state of mind, just sat behind the bar, and I just waited. Just waited for someone to come pick me up, and that person happened to be a cop, and they put me in the back of an ambulance, and they took me away. And what's crazy is my friend was so mad at me, as he should be. I'm a psychopath. Not my fault, though. It was the roofies. He didn't talk to me for years. Like, didn't check in on me to see where I was. Like, I understand. He spent the night in jail, and it was my fault. He was like, this girl's a psychopath. I want nothing to do with her. I will never speak to her ever again. And legitimately, we did not talk. I did not even know any of this happened for 5 years. And then, yeah, he seemed fine. He had a job, and he seemed stable. But yeah, guys, that is my story. All is well. It is quite honestly the story that keeps on giving. It is like an onion, the layers upon layers in the story. All I have to say is I learned my lesson. Check your drinks. Don't go to fraternity bar tabs. Don't fight back if you ever are arrested and put into a hospital bed. Just like let them. just let them put an IV in you, or else it is very alarming when you come to and you've got restraints around your ankles and your wrist. Truly insane. That is probably the most unhinged story I have. I don't think anything will ever top that, nor do I want anything to ever top that. And I think we'll close out our season finale episode with that one. Guys, I am so excited to come back with more stories. I'm so excited to come back with all the things I learned in Lisbon. I just have a good feeling about this. I know I've talked about being anxious. I know I talked about like what's going to happen. Deep down, I have a good feeling, and I cannot wait to come back on the podcast and share all of this with you. Thanks so much, as always, for just being invested in my life, being invested in the podcast, following along on this crazy freaking journey. Yeah, I love you guys, my little passengers, and I cannot wait for more unhinged, off the rails stories. I will see everyone next season. Bye, guys. Thanks so much for listening to Off the Rails podcast. It's been real, it's been unhinged, and I'll see everyone next week. In the meantime, do all the podcast things, like, listen, leave a 5-star review, and catch up with me on socials at Off the Rails with Morgan. Bye.